What's the most heartbreaking thing you've heard about yourself? Last month, I found a small velvet box hidden in my boyfriend Jake's sock drawer while putting away laundry. My heart nearly stopped. We'd been together for 4 years, and I'd been dropping hints about marriage for months. I didn't open it, wanting the proposal to be a surprise. That night, I painted my nails, washed my hair, and even practiced my surprised face in the mirror. 3 days later, Jake's college friends came to town for their annual reunion. They were having drinks in our living room while I was in the kitchen making appetizers. I was about to bring out the food when I heard my name. "So when are you finally going to propose to Megan?" one of them asked. Jake laughed, his voice slightly slurred from the beer. "Actually, I bought a ring last month." My heart soared. I stood frozen behind the wall. "But I'm having second thoughts," Jake continued. "Megan's great on paper. Stable job, wants kids, my parents love her, but there's just something missing." "What do you mean?" "When we first met, I was recovering from the breakup with Alexis. Megan was safe, comfortable. But lately I've been wondering if I'm settling." Another friend chimed in. "Dude, that's cold." I know, Jake sighed. "But I'm turning 30 next year. Everyone expects me to settle down. My mom keeps asking when she's getting grandkids. Sometimes I think maybe passion is overrated, Megan's dependable. She'd make a good mother." The plate of appetizers slipped from my hands, crashing to the floor. The room went silent. When I stepped into the doorway, 4 pairs of eyes turned to me. Jake's face drained of color. "Megan," I held up my hand. "Don't." His friends filed out the door, leaving us alone in suffocating silence. "How much did you hear?" Jake finally asked. "Enough to know I'm your backup plan, your safe choice." My voice was surprisingly steady, despite the earthquake happening inside me. "That's not what I meant. I was just talking. You know how guys are when we get together? Stop." I walked to the bedroom and pulled out the velvet box from his drawer. I placed it on the coffee table between us. "I found this last week. I was so excited I bought a new dress." Jake reached for my hand. "Meg, please. I love you. I do." I stepped back. "But you're not in love with me, and I deserve better than being someone's consolation prize." That night, I packed a suitcase and went to my best friend's apartment. Jake called and texted for days, saying he'd made a terrible mistake. 2 weeks later, I returned to get the rest of my things while he was at work. I left my key on the counter along with a letter. A month passed. Then one rainy evening, Jake showed up at my office as I was leaving. "Just 5 minutes," he pleaded, rain dripping from his hair. Against my better judgment, I agreed to coffee. He slid an envelope across the table. Inside was the receipt for the returned engagement ring and a confirmation for a therapy appointment. "I was wrong," he said, his voice breaking. "I was scared of commitment, and I convinced myself the problem was you when it was me all along." I took a sip of my coffee, and I realized I was repeating my father's mistakes. He always told me he settled for my mom. I was sabotaging us because I was terrified of ending up like them. For a moment, I felt a flicker of sympathy. Then I remembered his words: safe, comfortable, settling. "I'm sorry you're working through that, Jake, but you were right about one thing. Something was missing, and it was respect." As I walked away, he called after me. "I made the biggest mistake of my life, didn't I?" I turned back. "No, Jake, your biggest mistake was thinking I wouldn't find out what you really thought of me." 6 months later, I moved to our London office. Last week, I received a wedding invitation. Jake is marrying his high school sweetheart, Alexis. I sent a nice gift with a card that read, "Thank you for breaking my heart before I broke mine." Now I'm dating a British architect who introduces me to everyone as the woman who made me believe in love at first sight.